welcome to another video. My name is Stacey York and I live in Indianapolis, Indiana with my husband Brandon, and I make YouTube videos about living your best life in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s. Or if you're 80, that's cool too. Today's video is going to be 3 meal prep recipes. I am going to be doing a creamy chicken chili, a little Mexican dish, and some tofu. So the tofu one will be vegetarian. It is not vegan, but there are some substitutes you can do if you would like it to be vegan. The other two obviously have chicken in them. This will be more of an inspiration guide for you guys to give you some ideas, and I do go step by step through the things, and I will have kind of basic information on amounts of things that you will need for these recipes listed in the description below. But I really just want you guys to take this as inspiration of I can make meal prep fun, I can make meal prep have interesting things that I can eat throughout the week so that I'm not gonna get bored, and you can switch it up every single week. I just want to inspire you guys to bring healthy meals with you to work. Without further ado, let's go ahead and go into the first recipe. Today we are going to be stir frying some tofu for my meal prep. So I have kind of a recipe from a book that I will have linked below to kind of follow along with, but I'm definitely changing up a lot of elements. The main thing I'm using the recipe for is just kind of how to cook the tofu. We will be frying it, so maybe not the healthiest way to cook it, but definitely the most delicious way to cook it. And the trick with this is to first of all make sure that your tofu is dry when you cut it up. So you want to make sure that you kind of press out most of the moisture before you cut it up. And then also we will be putting some cornstarch on the outside of it before we put it in the oil. Basically all we need for this recipe is some firm tofu. If you can get extra firm, I would recommend that, but today I have firm because that's all they had at the store. And then also just some garlic, some soy sauce, cornstarch, oil, ginger, and jalapenos, as well as some butter and just a little bit of sugar. So the first step is to make sure that your tofu is all dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my tofu here and get it drying. Okay, so my tofu is completely dry and cut up now. I cut it into just little like bite-sized pieces. And now I need to dust it in cornstarch before I throw it into the fryer. I once again am using my wok, so I'm just gonna put some oil in this so that I can fry up the tofu. Okay, so as you can definitely hear, my tofu is frying up. I did run out of cornstarch, but I just Googled it and you can use flour instead of cornstarch. It just won't get quite as crispy. So if you're also in a pinch and don't have cornstarch and you want to make this recipe, you can use flour. I'll let you know how it goes. But while those are kind of getting crispy and fried up, I'm kind of like doing a little waiting here. So I'm gonna chop up some jalapenos, which I am going to end up kind of stir frying with the fried tofu once it is all fried up. So I'm gonna do some chopping. Okay, my tofu is completely fried up now, which means I'm going to add some butter to my pan. The original recipe actually calls for 11 tablespoons of butter, but I'm going to use 4 because 11 is so excessive. So I'm gonna throw this in there, and then my jalapenos, and then I also grated up some fresh ginger and some garlic, and then some soy sauce. And then I'm gonna throw my tofu back in with all of that and kind of get the flavors in there. And then I will be putting this over rice. So I do need to actually start my rice here in a little bit. So almost done. It's taking kind of a long time, so be warned. Okay, this is looking pretty cooked down. The peppers are getting kind of soft and shiny, so I'm going to go ahead and add the tofu in just for a little bit. I don't want it to get mushy while it's in there, so I'm just going to cook it for a minute or so and then take it off heat, and then it will be done. And then I can just pop it, put it on top of some rice, and I will have meals for the rest of the week. So the final product is absolutely delicious. I honestly have never had tofu that tasted this yummy. This is how I went ahead and packaged it up. I have rice on the bottom here, and then the tofu. And then I also just threw a little bit of spinach and arugula because this isn't a very heavy vegetable kind of meal. There's not a lot of vegetables actually in the tofu, so I just wanted to add a little bit of vegetables to the side. I won't add the spinach and arugula to the other storage containers until the night before. This will be for Monday morning, which is tomorrow, and then I'll just add that. Otherwise it will tend to kind of get wilty and gross in there. I did also want to mention that I did add quite a bit of red pepper flakes into the mixture just to give it a little something else. Also, I do just want to say that using flour on the tofu did work pretty well. It definitely didn't make it quite as crispy as the cornstarch did, but I think it still tastes absolutely amazing. Other than that, the recipe absolutely turned out super good. Hello! So I already started talking about this recipe, but turns out my audio wasn't working, so we're gonna do all of this again. This is gonna be a creamy chicken chili. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over everything that I have for the recipe. I have chicken, obviously. I have about 4¼ pounds of chicken. It's already cooking because I already filmed this clip. And then I have bone broth instead of chicken stock, just because this has a little bit lower sodium and a little bit higher protein content. So I went with bone broth on that. And then I have an onion, a yellow onion, and minced garlic that's just already pre-minced because I'm too lazy to mince it on my own. And then I have some salsa, and then I have this whole bag of frozen kale. And then I also have Cajun seasoning, red pepper flakes, chili lime chili, and salt. And then I also have a Mexican blend of cheese and cream cheese. So let me go ahead and continue cooking. So while the chicken is cooking a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and chop up my onion. Okay, I am now going to go ahead and throw my chopped up onion into my big soup pot here, along with just some oil and my minced garlic. my onions and garlic cooking in there, and I threw a bunch of spices in there. I'll probably put more spices in there. I am rather heavy-handed with the spices, but my chicken is partially cooked. I'm gonna shred it up a little bit and just toss it in there, and it should cook completely, as I have this sitting on the stove for a long time because it's soup and I want it to all mix and mend and just taste good together. So I'm gonna shred the chicken a little bit and toss it in. I'm now also going to throw in this entire bone broth container. It is 4 cups. Going to throw my beans in there, and I also decided that I'm going to throw just a few lentils in there just to make it a little bit more hearty, because I feel like with what I have in there right now, I'm probably gonna get hungry if I just eat this for lunch. So throwing some lentils in and some beans in. I'm also now gonna throw in the kale. See if I can fit this entire bag in, but I feel like soup is magic and makes kale and spinach just disappear. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, my chili slash soup slash whatever you want to call it is simmering way over here. It's probably gonna be going for like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in the cheese now to make it nice and creamy. Okay, so that is all added in, and honestly I just need that to kind of melt down, and then it is completely done. One of the things that I really love about soups is you can really just chuck whatever you want in there, and honestly it's probably going to taste good. Like, I decided to throw those lentils in there. The recipe did not call for kale, but I like throwing kale in soups just to make it a little healthier, and that is the great thing about soup. So whatever you have on hand, if you think it would go good in chili, just throw it in there. There are no rules. Do whatever you want, and hopefully it tastes good. Okay, I have just enough left for a little lunch right now, which means I'm gonna do a little taste test for you guys. Yep, it's delicious. Okay, that is it for my creamy chicken chili. This is going to be kind of a Mexican themed dish that I am pretty much completely winging, and I really just wanted to show you this kind of recipe because meal prep does not have to be complicated. You can just kind of throw some ingredients together, cook them on a stove, and they normally will honestly come out pretty well. So normally when I do this, I just try to think I need some sort of protein source and then basically vegetables to go along with that. So today we have this cracked pepper turkey as our protein source. I was actually going to get chicken, but Aldi had pretty much no chicken left, so I grabbed this. Hopefully it's going to be good. This is the first time I've ever gotten anything like this, so we shall see. And then along with that, I'm going to be throwing in some black beans and canned corn. You could get frozen corn or the bag of beans. That's honestly the cheaper way to do it usually, but this is just a little bit more convenient, so I don't have to have a separate pot for the beans to cook in, and I just got canned corn because it was the first thing that I saw. And then along with that, I'm throwing in some taco seasoning. I could have just seasoned it with what we have here, but this just makes it a little bit easier, so I'm gonna throw that in. And then I also have 2 bell peppers and an onion. And then I also like to just throw in salsa in pretty much any Mexican type dish that I make. It just is an easy way to kind of get those flavors coming in, and I don't have to dice up a bunch of tomatoes or anything. And then along with that, I will be putting in some white rice. So as I said, I'm kind of completely winging this thing, but let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I think I'm gonna do is actually start cooking the turkey. So I'm probably gonna dice this up and chuck it in my wok, and we'll go from there. Now that the turkey is cooking, I am going to go ahead and chop up the rest of my vegetables and then throw those in as well. So while all of that is cooking down, I'm gonna go ahead and start the rice now. I just have instant white rice. You could use brown rice, wild rice, whatever kind of rice you want, but that's just what I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that on the stove real quick here. Also, I did just wanna say that I always make half a cup of rice per meal. So I am preparing 4 meals this week because usually my company caters in like food once a week. So I'm gonna do 2 cups of rice. So my turkey is pretty much done at this point and vegetables are softening up. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the last few things, which is gonna be the can of beans and the can of corn, as well as some salsa. That sit on the stove for a little while because I didn't drain my corn as well as I should have, so it was a little bit wet in there, a little soupy, so I let it kind of boil off some of the liquid just for a little while. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put some rice in all of my containers and then just put this on top of it, and then I'm done. Left over, so I'm gonna do a little taste test. I'm a fan. It's very good. The turkey is definitely like a very slightly different texture than chicken would have been, but I don't hate it. And of course, the beans and peppers and onions and corn is delicious. I feel like that's like my favorite flavor combination. All those things with like Mexican spices. Delicious. So that is it for this week's meal prep. And with that, we are done with this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want more meal prep related videos or recipe videos, please comment down below. I would love to hear that. And if you are not subscribed already, please make sure that you do so. I make all kinds of videos on living a healthy lifestyle and keeping your space clean. And I do a lot of work week in my lives as I do work 9 to 5 in a marketing job. So please make sure you're subscribed and that you like this video, and comment down below which recipe you are most excited to try. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.